Shalom Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makakwadash, for allowing me to do another lesson. Yahweh is who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And there's no God beside them. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Double honors. And for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit. And shalom to the elect. Millions of Americans in multiple states face elevated risk of winter power outages. Millions of people in multiple states are at an elevated risk of having power outages this winter. Texas, New England, the Great Lakes, and the American Southeast are facing unprecedented and widespread reliability risk this winter, according to the 2023 winter assessment. All right, so through the spirit, as well as we see through prophecy and things that brothers be getting into, as far as the MOTB going to be pushed next year, CBDCs are going to be pushed. All right, next year, 2023, it's going to be a year of great devastation. All right, and when you look back as far as Texas, when Texas was hit with that, that huge, basically blizzard, a lot of people died because it's normally warm out there, so they wasn't prepared for those freezing temperatures. Okay. It says, according to the 2023 winter assessment report on the North American Electrical Reliability Corporation, the United States Grid Reliability Coordinator, a quarter of America could experience long blackouts this winter due to energy supply problems. And hey, as brother's been pushing. I don't know who the brother is, but I want to say he's out of Florida. I'm not too sure about it. Nevertheless, the brother had a dream, about the Apostle Tahar giving a message to him and a few brothers with him. All right, basically going into the famine of the word. All right, we get the the red light to stop going out there, and that's your ass. Which is why, and according to the scriptures, Amos 8:11, the Lord said, "Behold," let me grab it. All right, because we all, everybody has a dream, have dreams. Hell, Martin Luther King had a dream. However, this dream is biblical, so we take heed. Amos 8:11, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh." Okay? And as we are in spiritual Egypt, you got to think about some of the plagues that the Lord hit Egypt with before, which was what? Darkness. All right? Exodus 10, which let me see if I can find it. Exodus 10, which you see the different plagues that the Lord hit Egypt with. Disease of livestock, flies, gnats, amphibians, water turning to blood, unhealable boils. Come on, man. Hail and fire, these wildfires in the Midwest, locusts, darkness, and then death of firstborn. All right, and the Most High, as we see, is fixing us in darkness, both physically and spiritually, as the prophets are the light of the world. So it says, it says a quarter of Americans could experience long blackouts this winter due to energy supply. And that'll be just in time for Esau to bring the power back, all right, with a new system. Because again, when we look into prophecy, we see that that's really where he wants to go with this thing. You know, he wants to bring a new digitized system. Furthermore, NERC warned that large portions of America's power grid that were not mentioned above are also at a high risk of having insufficient supplies. So just because your name, your state wasn't named, that doesn't mean that you are not accounted for these plagues. As a matter of fact, I actually learned this year that your electricity, let's say you live in Connecticut, your electricity could actually come from Pennsylvania. You know? So hey, it's all connected. It says energy insiders note that tight fuel supplies and an outdated electrical grid are playing a critical role in possible blackouts. The risk of power outages this winter will be compounded by the expected uptick in demand for energy use for heating. This, coupled with the rush and ineffective transition to use primarily clean or renewable energy sources and underinvestment in more reliable sources like fossil fuel, will make energy supplies far less reliable. You see? So it says Todd Snitchler, president and CEO of the Electric Power Supply Association, writing an opinion piece for Utility Dive, noted that many people still remember just how deadly it can be to lose power during winter. Again, we go back, 2 years ago? What happened over there in Texas? The terrible toll of Winter Storm Uri is a sad reminder of just how devastating and deadly it can be to have the power go out during an extended period of cold weather. American power grid dangerously outdated, not preparing for coming winter. It says Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm noted in a brief last month that around 70% of the nation's power grid is more than 25 years old. Conservative estimates this year suggest that the cost of providing critical infrastructure upgrades to America's power grid is at least $4 trillion. 1 second. Some spirits telling me to turn that because I have my headphones in, but I don't know if it's going to be muffled. Lord willing, it's not. But we'll keep going. It says at least $4 trillion, provided that the U.S. continues to supplement energy demand with nuclear power. Without nuclear energy, the price tag jumps by at least $500 million. Who do you think ultimately is going to pay for that? The consumer. And at the same time, jobs are being lost. All right, so that's going to be another reason why a lot of people are going to go into the dark anyway. And then, which, I failed to mention, or rather not mention, but relate, so to speak, to the plagues, because the disease of livestock, which another thing they're not really talking about is, the shortage of turkeys and chicken. Because of I think one they call it like a chicken flu or something like that. Let me see. They said it was a turkey shortage. And as things are getting worse, how much worse do you think it's going to be next year for Thanksgiving and Christmas? Things are getting worse this year. Shortage of turkeys. Okay, supposedly it's some type of bird flu. This has occasionally been found in mammals, including pigs, cats, Okay. Big bird shortage. Bird flu. All right, including what? Chickens, turkeys. All right, so again, when we go into the different plagues, we see it's all coming together, man. The seeds of livestock, hail and fire, locusts, boils, all right? What's that big pestilence, that which we can't name is sweeping through the nation. Darkness, as we see, is on its way, and then death of firstborn. All right, and when we go into 2nd Ezra 15, it spells out the different plagues of ancient Egypt, all right, as well as spiritual Egypt perfectly, all right, which we know ancient Egypt, which was of course in Africa. Spiritual Egypt is what's known as today as America, all right. The straits, the captivity, the great captivity of the tribes, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's why the Lord told us that we will go into Egypt again with ships. Okay, we will ship first and foremost to the Americas. But I will bring them Second Ezra 15, and I'm gonna start at 1, probably read to like 4 or 5, then jump down to verse 11. So it says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness." Those that push, that say that we're false prophets, that we've been talking about the coming of the Lord for 40, 50, 60 years, they're going to die in their unfaithfulness. Those that fell away from the Lord, saying, that he's not coming back, as it says, what's that in Peter's? They say, where's the promise of his coming? Since our fathers fell asleep. Basically, because, as also the scriptures say, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore it's fully set in the hearts of the men to do evil. All right? Nobody's fearing the return of the Lord. All right? But the Most High is about to put a lot of fear in their heart. As it says in Exodus 10 and 20, the Lord said that it was a great darkness over Egypt, even a darkness that which may be felt. Okay? And again, this, I believe that this next grid down scenario is going to be real rough. It's going to be real demonic like. "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." The sword, all right, as we see during this this pandemic, all right, which different pestilences will lead to famine, which ultimately leads to death and destruction. "For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." And when you look at what's going on in the world today, wickedness is exceedingly polluting the whole earth. All right? Transformers are being set up in high places. All right? They're being set up to teach your kids. All types of wickedness is happening, and this is why the lights are on. People are getting poked up. All right? Being put to death at an alarming, at a higher rate than normal. How much more when the lights go out? "Therefore, saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually." Jumping down to verse 11, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof." Egypt shall mourn, right? And this proves that it's not talking about ancient Egypt, because he says, for one, he said as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. And when you look over there in Egypt, All right, people are still living over there. Okay, so it says Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punishment that God shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fall through the blasting in hell, and with a fearful consolation. Woe to the world, and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, evading one another. They shall not regard their kings or princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right, because it's going to be the has versus the has-nots. You know, some people are prepared, most are not. You know, most are just trying to get by from day to day. But again, this proves that the Most High is going to bring all these plagues, the death of the firstborn. You know, the death, basically, the Most High is going to kill off a lot of these Generation Z babies. You know, a lot of this wickedness is going down. The Most High is getting ready to amplify it. It's like a lot of the wickedness is going down. The Most High is getting ready to judge it. Salakia. All right, but jumping over to see if there's more in the article. It says the administration of President Joe Biden has only authorized $13 billion in funding meant to be a stopgap measure to modernize and expand the power grid. Given the politics involved in any legislation, it'll take some time before any of these funds trickle down to the states that need the funds. It says, jumping down to the next one, it says, but even if the federal government provided the country with all of the funding it needs to properly upgrade the electrical grid, energy specialists warn that it's far too late for those upgrades to take effect in the coming winter or even for the next one, right? Because that takes time that Esau don't have. There is a significant gap to upgrading aging grid infrastructure to maintain reliability, and we're running out of time, said energy analyst Kim Gedgen. Upgrading aging infrastructure, system hardening, and resilience measures while complying with the evolving set of new cyber and physical security threats will require even more investment. It's important to remember that something as complex as the electricity grid takes time to change, noted Ted Curry, director of energy studies at the University of Florida. Curry said regulatory processes for new utility projects, including repair and upgrades, moves very slowly no matter how much money is thrown at it, because you still need the manpower. If investments were made today, it would take years before people feel the impact. You see? So this is the, hey man, you know, this is not the season. You know, it's everybody preparing for Christmas. They just got out of Thanksgiving. Now they're preparing for Christmas still, reminiscing over the World Cup. Little did they know this not a joyous this is far from a joyous time. It's not a joyous a time that's coming. You know? But hey, the scriptures say, you have no need that I write unto you, for you yourselves know that the day of the Lord cometh as a thief in the night. When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. Alright? So hey, this destruction is coming, man. World War III is talked about. Shit, so much being talked about, like we always go into. They don't even talk about the earthquakes no more. That's kind of swept under the rug, even though it's happening at a major height. As a matter of fact, over there in Northern California, I want to say, there was a crazy earthquake over there that just happened. Hey man, so just something quick. Shalom to the elect.